Have you ever heard the term spec home when we're talking about new construction? I'm here with a realtor who knows everything about them, Travis Anderson. Today we're going to talk about everything you need to know about new construction and especially about spec homes. My name's Peter Lindquist. I'm with the Lindquist team. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel. And if you've got any comments, please leave them below. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. Travis, when we're talking about new construction, I hear this phrase sometimes. Can you help me understand it? People will talk about a spec home. What is that?
Yeah, that would be when the builder has already decided on the home they're going to build and the lot they're going to build it on, and they've maybe even started the process. And so it's a home essentially that's going to be built no matter what, and they can sell it before the build is complete, or if the build is complete, they'll just put a sign in the yard and sell it like any other home for sale that you might imagine.
So, how is it different from, like a custom built home?
Yeah. So the big difference, of course, is going to be that the builder is going to make all of the selections up front, and you're going to have very few options as a buyer, if any, even if you go in at foundation, let's say. And we're going through this right now with one of our clients. We wanted to swap out some hardware and things like that. And the builder's like, sorry, everything's been ordered. The time has been scheduled. The plans have been printed. All of the plumbers, the electricians, and everybody's got a copy of the plan, and they won't make any changes. So you might, in some instances, you might be able to change the appliances, or you might be able to add like a water softener or add a washer and dryer or something like that. But you're probably not going to get to make changes to most things in the home. If it's slight cosmetic things, you might be able to make a change. But like I said, even in this instance, Peter, we wanted to swap out the hardware. So instead of like nickel, silver style hardware, we wanted the oil rubbed bronze, and the builder's unwilling to do that.
So maybe the advantage is closing time. Yeah, I mean, you've found a new construction that sometimes will take 4 to 6 months to build, but here the house is either already built or close to built. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Probably the biggest benefit, Peter, is the builder is selecting floor plans that are common, floor plans that are in high demand. A builder's not going to build a home that they don't think they can sell in this scenario. They will build a custom home that they don't think they can sell because you're kind of making the choices yourself as a buyer, and you're paying a larger sticker price and things like that. So the floor plans are really common. The finishes are going to be what is most marketable. And if the home's finished, just imagine being a builder, and especially maybe a large builder. You might own 30, 40, 50 spec homes in a market area.
Mm.
And so you're going to, as a buyer, you're going to have a little more negotiation power, I would say.
I know I bought one, I don't know, 20 years ago, something like that. Um, and the one nice thing about it is it's all there. So it's very easy to visualize, because it is what it is. But one thing that surprised me because I wasn't that familiar with it, shortly before closing, they came to me with this thing called a punch list. Can you tell me a little bit what a punch list is?
Yeah, depending on the builder, they're going to have you walk through the home with them maybe a week or 2 weeks before closing. And the builder is going to have their own sort of auditing process where they're going to look for defects on the property. And, they're going to mark them, and they're going to fill out a form with all of these defects on the property. And then they're going to show them to you. They're going to say, hey, here's the defects that we found on the property. You're normally going to walk it as well, and you might see another defect or two, and they'll put that all on a punch list. And then those items will either be agreed to be fixed before closing, or will be agreed to be fixed after closing. And it depends on the severity of the punch list.
Okay, gotcha. One of the things that surprised by the amount of additional expenses I had, curtains and curtain rods and different kinds of things that are there when you're buying an existing home. And I think it's good for people to understand a little bit about what those things are because they compare the cost of new construction to existing homes, but that's not really, not everything is told by the purchase price itself.
Some of the biggest benefits, of course, of buying new construction is everything is obviously new. And so the major mechanicals should last, whatever the expected lifespan is of a furnace might be 15 to 25 years or something like that. A water heater is maybe 6 to 12 years. Your roofing material is going to be 30 to 50 years. And so when you're buying new, you've got all of these large expenses that should be like way in the future, right? But you have a lot of smaller expenses that really add up. Some spec homes don't have a refrigerator, right? And so now you have to plan on $1,000 or $1,500 or whatever for a refrigerator. Almost every builder is not putting a washer and dryer in your house. You mentioned shades or window blinds. We're not spec homes. They're not putting blinds in the home. And of course, even if you're doing them yourself, a nice blind is 100 or 150 bucks per blind. So that kind of stuff really does add up. The other items, of course, are going to be like extra landscaping. Usually a builder will put whatever the city requires them to do. So it's maybe a tree in the front yard and like a little bit of rock with a bush, right? And then if you wanted to do your own landscaping, it might be 1,500 to tens of thousands of dollars, right?
Yeah.
I just had a client buy a home that was built in 2022, and you could tell the buyer who built that home spent tens of thousands of dollars on landscaping because there's dozens of trees in the yard, there's beautiful shrubbery and all of this stuff. Well, at the time of building, they probably just had the one boulevard tree. And so yeah, there's all of these things
Hmm.
that sort of add up in addition. And it's really good, you're going to know what you're getting with the new construction, and you can just start putting together your own punch list, not of repairs, but of things that you're going to decide to purchase. And you can kind of build that into your offer on a spec home, where you're not going to be able to build that into the offer as easily on custom style home.
Anything else that you think is relevant about spec homes?
Yeah, some of that's going to be the mortgage conversation. I mean, you and I work with buyers that are building new construction all of the time, and most builders have their own financing. And I always tell my clients, like, well, we should still shop the builder's financing, even if they have a really big incentive. And so, why don't you touch on that piece a little bit?
It depends on the situation and in terms of the value of what the builder's lender provides. But quite often they will offer some insanely low mortgage rate. And the immediate thought is, well, that's a great value. And, if you really look at it, they're building that cost into the purchase price of the home. And sometimes that cost is $20,000 or $30,000 to get some kind of unrealistically low rate. And is that really worthwhile spending that much on a home? They will prefer to give incentives than reduce the purchase price. And it has to do with appraised value and keeping the values of the homes high. But, as a buyer, do you want to invest that much money into a lower interest rate? I don't know. So it's something at least for you to weigh out. There are times when it's like, use the builder's lender because they'll give you $100,000 for a basement remodel. Well, I can't match that, but in many instances I can, and and in some instances I can beat it. So it's definitely worth your while to get a competitive quote. I'd love to give it to you versus what the builder's lender is offering you.
Great way to put it. Yeah, some of the builder incentives, like you said, the finish work, like finishing basements or something like that, that's probably the most common one, actually. Sometimes they'll throw in the washer and dryer or stuff like that. So, really small stuff. The way I describe to my clients, Peter, is I always say it's your money, and it's sort of like moving money from your right pocket to your left pocket with the builder. So, they're either going to charge you up front with the purchase price, or you're going to get a higher interest rate with a lower price. But you're just moving your own money around in order to kind of make the deal work. So what I love is bringing them to you and then having you sort of show what the alternative options are, because the builder is usually just giving them one option.
Yeah, and that's just goes to it's free to get additional opinions, right? So I really hesitate to to endorse somebody just saying, well, I'm only going to look at that one option. You might as well get another option. And boy, I'd love to be the one to offer that to you.
Yeah, that's great. Peter, we talked, of course, about spec homes and some of the benefits, maybe some of the additional costs, and a little bit touched on the finance piece. It's always a pleasure having these conversations with you.
All right. Thanks, Travis. Have a great day.
You too.